to look at that contrast. Josh Rogan is a CNN political analyst and a columnist at the Washington Post. Carl Higbie is a Donald Trump supporter and former U.S. Navy SEAL. Margaret Hoover is a CNN political commentator, and she's worked in the George W. Bush administration and for 2 Republican presidential campaigns. And Philip Levine is the mayor of Miami Beach, Florida, and a Hillary Clinton surrogate. Thank you all. Philip, first to you. Look, Hillary Clinton has all the foreign policy chops anybody could ever want. This should be her forte, and yet why do you think it is that it is so contrasting so much with the message of Donald Trump, which you know resonates with people? It resonates with people in Miami Beach.
Well, I can tell you that I think that what Secretary Clinton, because of her tremendous experience of being in the Situation Room, dealing with generals and dealing with the armed services and dealing with secretaries of state and being one herself, she realizes that you don't want to jump too fast. You want to listen to the experts, understand what's going on, and don't go out and be a rabble-rouser. You know, it's wonderful, it makes great TV. But Secretary Clinton wants to listen, learn, then respond in a measured approach. One thing we've seen that in the battlefield, they've had some great successes, President Obama. And now, of course, we're seeing this war expand outside the battlefield. It's on the internet and working with the high-tech companies. One of the most important things she can do, and that's what she plans to do. But she has a plan of how to take this on, and I think it's important to listen and learn.
But the problem is some voters who are on the fence are saying, is that truly strong enough? I mean, Carl, your candidate kind of has the opposite problem. I mean, to come out and call it a bomb like that on the tarmac, he actually alarmed people in the audience.
It was a bomb. I mean, the fact of the matter is a bomb, and this is Donald Trump's strength, and this is why overwhelming. I mean, Hillary Clinton has a dismal record with the military right now. As in having all the experience she claims to have had as Secretary of State, she should have a much higher record. But Donald Trump comes out strong, and people right now, they're afraid. They're honestly afraid of walking down the street and getting blown up by one of these bombs. So when you have someone like Donald Trump who comes out right away and says, "This is what it is. This is what I believe it is, and this is how I'm going to deal with it with strength first," people get behind it.
Yeah, he didn't know it was a bomb when he said that. So the point is, when you're in a position of leadership and responsibility, you should exercise caution at these 3 a.m. moments. But that's not my big problem with the Donald Trump response. My big problem is that his plan for defeating ISIS and Islamic terrorism is literally knock the hell out of them. That's it, okay? That's a problem,
but
right?
Josh, come on, you know that at the kitchen table, sometimes that works. That's the line.
But it doesn't work against ISIS. So, yes, so he's playing to people's sort of fear, but he's not explaining how we would actually solve the problem. You heard Hillary Clinton talk about countering violent extremism, counter-radicalization, working with in Silicon Valley to battle the foundations of Islamic extremism online. Nobody knows if that'll work either, but at least she's thought it through. What we see in Trump is sort of a lack of curiosity, a lack of enthusiasm for learning the mechanics of foreign policy. He's not interested in it. He can't speak about it in depth, and that shows that he's not really ready for it.
Margaret, does it not, though, play into the momentum of the campaign here for Donald Trump? We do have, you know, a security risk around the country. We also had the attacks in Minnesota that we didn't even talk about. You know, somebody claiming to work for ISIS who stabbed as many as 8 people there. I mean,
look, there's a great fear on behalf of people who support Hillary Clinton that somehow national security events like this will tip the election in favor of him because he has a strong man's response. And Hillary Clinton is measured. She is cautious. She also, you know, doesn't love going and talking to the press. And all of these things combined, maybe in a moment of maximum concern, fear, and want for change, help him. You look against the backdrop, though, of the number of generals, foreign policy experts, national security experts who have come back. Robert Gates, for example, just this weekend came out in support of Hillary Clinton. This is President Obama's Secretary of Defense and George W. Bush's Secretary of Defense, somebody who's worked for Republicans and Democrats alike. He says that Donald Trump on national security is beyond repair. He says he is stubbornly uninformed about the world affairs and government, and that this is he is temperamentally unfit. That is what we're going to have to see whether that gets through to the American people.
Yeah, I would even go one step further. You know, there's a reason that most Islamic jihadist groups are publicly and forcefully rooting for Donald Trump to win. It's because their vision of the war between Islam and the West is exactly his vision. And by oversimplifying the problem, he plays into their narrative, and that actually hurts our ability to confront it.
Yeah, but you've had a number of generals like Michael Flynn, who was head of the DIA. I mean, this guy is strongly endorsed him. He's part of the campaign now. I mean, he was even considered for a VP candidate. I mean, we have many more generals and military members on the side of Donald Trump.
That's
than
actually
his
not true.
No, I'm not
That's
sure it's got a bunch of
incorrect.
generals.
Well, you do have some generals. You do not have more. You don't have even close to more.
Oh, we absolutely
It was
do.
my-
Can I say
numbers
something?
for numbers.
As an elected leader and as a mayor, one thing I learned early on is to come out fast is not always the best thing. It's to come out accurate, to come out smart, to come out intelligent, to come out measured, because you can't take back what you said. It's easy as a candidate to do what Donald Trump, throw things, put gasoline on the fire. It's great. It's easy. It sounds good. Makes great sound bites. But as an elected leader, someone who's been in office like Secretary Clinton, is to come out measured, come out smart, come out accurate.
And Donald Trump supporters or people leaning towards Donald Trump will say, that just hasn't worked in the past. You need someone who's tougher.
Well, I think it's worked very well. And I think the fight against ISIS has worked very well. And therefore, we're seeing them all over now because it's expanded to the internet.
You know,
but the battlefield has gone very well.
And what is tougher, right? Is tougher really just bombing the heck out of a bunch of countries? No, that's not actually tougher. That's a reactionary response.
And also, what does that mean? Does that mean boots on the ground?
Well, we don't know because Donald Trump has told us his strategy against ISIS is a secret, right? Which is sort of mocking the debate in a way to avoid the debate.
But he has had military people back him up on that.
Everybody has their teams of generals, right? I can make a list of generals.
That's a good way to put it, Jack.
And that's a wash, okay? And that's why we don't look to our retired generals to decide our politics. We have to look to the candidates. And everyone can surround themselves with smart people, but if you don't have the basic intellectual curiosity, you're not going to get it done.
One point I want to make today, the headlines really did bring to bear one of these issues that Donald Trump has said, look, we're not screening our immigrants as well as we could be. The AP just reported, the Associated Press just had a report today saying that more than 800 people perhaps were naturalized, became citizens of this country, and Homeland Security says that shouldn't have happened.
By accident,
By accident. That is resonating. Carl, what do you think Donald Trump is hearing on the campaign trail that tells him, if I continue to hammer home this point, that those independents, those people on the fence, those people that maybe are a little bit unsettled by my temperament will still come on side?
Absolutely, and let's rationalize this here real quick. A lot of these domestic terrorists are exactly that. They're domestic. They're not coming from overseas. But there is a great deal of threat overseas that want to come here. And when he hammers it home and says, look, the government's screwed up. You want more of the same with Hillary Clinton, or do you want a new guy who's run private industry successfully? I mean, that's what he's running on.
Well, I have to disagree with you there, because he's not run private industry successfully. And the only situation Donald Trump has ever seen, Situation Room, is a Situation Room at, like, City Corp and Bankruptcy Court and things like that. That's the interesting fallacy. The man is not a success. We know he's not a billionaire. We also know he inherited $200 million. We can't see his tax returns. I mean, folks,
So we don't know.
we don't know. We don't know. This guy's not who he says he is.
We're going to call
know
time
that.
just for now. Coming up, legacy and leadership. U.S. President Barack Obama urges African Americans to vote for Hillary Clinton. Will his deeply felt support be enough to preserve his legacy and propel Clinton to the White House? We'll take a look. That's up next.